Designs are plans, drawings, or blueprints to show the looks, functions, and materials to use of something prior to it being made. And designing is also applied in conducting a research. Research design is the framework of research methods and techniques chosen by a researcher. It is a structure to obtain answers to research questions or problems, and how research study is to be completed. They outline from writing hypotheses and their operational implications to final data analysis. It hones research methods suitable for the subject matter and explains the type of research as well as its subtypes. An impactful research design creates a minimum bias in data and increases trust in the accuracy of collected data. Through research design, you decide for yourself and communicate to others your decisions. Functions of research design. First, identify, develop, and detail procedures for undertaking a study. You need to detail the rationale and justification for each decision that shapes your answers to the how of the research journey, and as far as possible, support them from the literature reviewed. Second function of research design is the control of variance, or to highlight the importance of quality in procedures, that is, to ensure their validity, objectivity, and accuracy. When establishing association or causality, your independent variable has the maximum chance of affecting the dependent variable, and that the effects of extraneous and chance variables are minimized, quantified, and/or controlled. For your research design, you have 6 things to decide on. Your overall aims and approach, wherein you consider your priorities and practicalities. Then you determine the type of data you need and type of research design. Sama sa mga tao, mananap, gamit ug uban pa, importante nga atong hatagan og ngalan ng atong research design. Pananglitan. Kung descriptive ang imong type of research design, pwede ka mopili og gamit og panuhid o survey. Another research design type is review or literature review, which was shown on the last or previous report. Next step is the selection of participants. So, kinsa man ang imong participants? Unsaon man nimo pag-identify sa study population? And will it be a sample or whole population? Data collection method not only talks about unsa nga method of data collection ang imong gamiton, but also ngano kana pod ang imong gipili or gamiton. You may also include the suggested how questions shown. So there's 3 of them. Number 5 to consider is the procedures that you will follow. How will you reliably measure your variables, and also include the steps in collecting and managing the data. Last but not the least, data analysis strategies, which will be discussed later on by one of our lovelies. So this involves choosing statistical tests that match your variables and planning your approach to code and interpret the data.
Hello everyone. I will be reporting about research environment. Now, research environment or the cultures are thought to be the most influential predictors of research productivity. Therefore, research environment really matters. Now, the definition of research environment is underpinned by a culture of integrity and based on good governance, best practice and support for the development of the researchers. And, and this includes the following. First is the clear policies, practices, procedures to support researchers. Why? So that the researcher will be guided. They will be guided to ensure positive outcome and of course avoid misconduct that can lead to undesirable effect. Then suitable learning, training, mentoring opportunities to support researchers. So the suitable learning and training, mentoring is also important because it enhances the researcher skills to produce a good research. And then robust management systems to ensure policies relating to research, RI, and behavior are implemented. If you are in a group or employed in a research institutions, and then awareness amongst researchers of standards and behaviors expected of them. Of course, if you are a researcher and you are aware of the standards and behaviors in the research environment, of course there will also be a positive outcome in your research. And next is the systems that identify potential concerns at an early stage and mechanisms for providing support. Yes, because it will be very easy to connect to the people and the environment. Now, in research environment, from the other studies, it also covers strategy. Strategy that are suitable for the purpose of your study, and also the people. Of course, people is present in a research environment. And then the income and also the infrastructure facilities, the physical environment. And finally, the collaboration and contribution to the discipline in a way that among researchers, it ensures knowledge and skills and techniques that are also made available to everyone who are interested to your study. Therefore, there is mutual benefits and vice versa. Now, in research environment, there are characteristics in research conducive environments. Number one is the clear goals that serve a coordinating function. So no clear goals, no direction, it will lead to a negative output of your study. Second is research emphasis. So it must have a special consideration of what you are aiming to do. Number three is distinctive cultures. Distinctive cultures are made by distinctive peoples and not way around. Number four, positive group climate. So this exists when individuals of the group, perceive that they are valued, supported, and treated well, so they are equally respected. Number five, assertive participative governance. So this is more likely to participate and to be assertive in the affairs of the research. Number six, decentralized organization. So the decision making in research is made by all of the members of the group, from the lowest level to up to the highest level. So there is a collaboration in decision making rather than being made by the head of the company. Number 7 is frequent communication. So frequent communication to update what's going on, to update the study, the progress of the study. Number 8 is accessible resources, particularly human. Yes, it is important that especially respondents are accessible so that they are readily available for to collaborate, for collaboration of the study. Then appropriate rewards. Appropriate rewards, of course, more positive attitude about what you are working, and it can also improve motivation of what you are doing. 11. Concentration on recruitment and selection to find the best for a positive response about research. Lastly, leadership with research expertise and skill. So researchers with of course researchers that have strong leadership skills can understand the technical aspects of the job or in a research study. Now, in research environment, there is what we call critical to the success of a research environment, and that is time, identity, and relationships. Why is this time critical to a research environment? Because lack of protective time leading to a lack of researcher engagement and reduce its productivity. And this and on the limitation of time available for research imposed by excessive other workloads that can lead to reduced productivity, as I've said earlier, and the opportunity to attend research training. Because if the researcher will do, it will reduce or it will diminish the time available of the study of your research rather. Now, second is identity. Second critical to success or not is the identity. And there are three types of identity: personal identities, professional identity, social identity that can affect the research environment. Why? Because personal identities like the gender, this which is very challenging if you conduct a research. And also professional identity, because professional identity can lead to a better output in your research study. And then social identity or the sense of belongingness. So the research needed to be highly relevant and alignment to their primary identity. In order to motivate, then without alignment, there will be a research disengagement. And then relationships. Relationships were also important in the mediating of successful research. It's because Positive research relationships were characterized by trust and respect, and others gonna describe that as friendship that take time to develop. So it develops um, confidence, it develops self-esteem, and failure in such can lead to negative research productivity. And these three critical to a success of a research environment is interrelated. That is, the time and an identity is interrelated, the identity and relationships, and the time and relationships, because time was necessary enabler for the development of a researcher identity, and the identity consistently focused on relationship building, in which relationships were developed and sustained over time. And that's all. Thank you, everyone.
Good day, everyone. My name is Bernadine Emily Alcastrades, discussing to you about research instruments. What is research instrument? A research instrument is a tool used to collect, measure, and analyze data related to your research interest. These tools are most commonly used in health sciences, social sciences, and education to assess patients, clients, students, teachers, and staff. A research instrument can include interviews, tests, surveys, or checklists. The research instrument is usually determined by a researcher and is tied to the study methodology. Choosing a research instrument. The following list below is an example of the steps to complete a research project. So in choosing a research instrument, it is done after conceptualizing a topic and the units of analysis have been chosen, and before operationalizing the concept of your research. Below are the characteristics of a good research instrument. 1. A good research instrument must be valid and reliable. The components of the instrument should be of sound basis in logic or fact. A good research instrument is based on a conceptual framework, or the researcher's understanding of how the particular variables in the study connect with each other. A good research instrument must gather data suitable for and relevant to the research topic. A good research instrument must be able to test hypotheses and or answer proposed research questions under investigation. A good research instrument is free of bias and appropriate for the context, culture, and diversity of the study site. And lastly, a good research instrument contains clear and definite instructions to use the instrument. Here, we will discuss three types of research instruments. These are interviews, observations, and surveys. Ang una natong i-discuss is ang interview or the interaction where verbal questions are posed by an interviewer to elicit verbal responses from an interviewee. Mao sila ang types of interviews: structured interview, unstructured interview, non-directive interview, focus interview, focus group interview. Structured interview is a formal set of questions posed to each interviewee and recorded using a standardized procedure. Unstructured interview is a less formal set of questions. The interviewee modifies the sequence and wording of questions. Non-directive interview is an unguided interview including open-ended questions and use of spontaneous engagement. Akong ma-example dere sa tulo ka na-discuss na to nga type sa interview is kanang mag-interview sa kanang job recruitment. Di ba sa structured gani nga interview, formal siya na siya yung mga guide. Ug unstructured, iya siyang kanang punan og mga questions nga relevant ra pud sa iyang guide. Sa mga non-directive nga interview, mga open, bisag unsa na lang yun nga questions nga maistorya nila just to get to know that applicant. Focus group interview. An emphasis on the interviewee's subjective and personal responses where the interviewer engages to elicit more information. Focus group interview is a group of selected participants that are asked about their opinion or perceptions concerning a particular topic. Murag kaybaw naman siguro taon sa uni paagi ning focus group interview and or focus interview. So, let us proceed. Observation is watching what people do. This is a type of correlational or non-experimental method where researchers observe ongoing behavior. There are three types of observation: structured observation, naturalistic observation, participant observation. Structured observation. Research is conducted at a specific place, time, where participants are observed in a standardized procedure. Rather than writing a detailed description of all behaviors observed, researcher code observed behaviors according to a previously agreed upon scale. Naturalistic observation. To study the spontaneous behavior of participants in a natural surroundings. The researcher simply records what they see in whatever way they see it. Participant observation is a variation on natural observations where the researcher joins in and becomes part of the group they are studying to get a deeper insight into their lives. Third type of research instrument to be discussed is survey. Survey research encompasses any measurement procedures that involve asking questions of respondents. The types of surveys can vary in the span of time used to conduct the study. They can be comprised of cross-sectional surveys and/or longitudinal surveys. A cross-sectional study is defined as a type of observational research that analyzes data of variables collected at one given point in time across a sample of population or a predefined subset. The data collected in a cross-sectional study involves subjects or participants who are similar in all variables. Example, in business, researchers can conduct a cross-sectional study to understand how people of different socioeconomic status from one geographic segment respond to one change in an offering, while ang longitudinal survey is conducted over an extended period of time. An example of this is kanang mga market trends o mga brand awareness. Atong gamiton ana is ang nga survey is market research survey and marketing survey to identify market trends and develop brand awareness. So through sa kanang nga survey, businesses or organizations can learn what customers want and what they will discard. This study can be carried over time to assess market trends repeatedly as they are volatile and tend to change constantly. Types of questions asked in surveys include free answer, also referred to as open-ended questions. These include unrestricted essay or unguided questions. Guided response type is a recall type of questions asking the participant to recall a set of categories. It is a multiple choice or multiple response questions. And that ends my report about research instrument. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. My name is Bernadine Emily L. Castrodes reporting to you about data analysis. What is the first thing that comes to mind when we see data? The first instinct is to find patterns, connections, and relationships. We look at the data to find meaning in it.
What is data analysis? Data analysis is the process of systematically applying statistical and or logical techniques to describe and illustrate, condense and recap, and evaluate data. In research, once data is collected, the next step is to get insights from it. For example, ug ako usa ka clothing brand, then I would like to identify ug unsay mga latest trends sa mga young women. The brand will first reach out to those young women and ask them questions relevant sa hong research objective. So after now collect sa mga information, amo na nang i-analyze. So the brand will analyze that data to identify patterns. Example, our brand may discover that most young women would like to see more variety of jeans. Data analysis is how researchers go from a mass of data to meaningful insights. There are many different data analysis methods. But, ang atong i-focus karon is ang pag-analyze sa quantitative and qualitative data. The first stage of analyzing data is data preparation, where the aim is to convert raw data into something meaningful and readable.
Data preparation has three steps. Step 1 is data validation. The purpose of data validation is to find out as far as possible whether the data collection was done as per the preset standards and without any bias. It is a four-step process, which includes fraud, screening, procedure, and completeness. The researcher need to infer whether each respondent was actually interviewed or not. Make sure that respondents were chosen as per research criteria. Check whether the data collection procedure was truly followed, and ensure that the interviewer asked the respondent all the questions rather than just a few required ones. To do this, og ikaw nangunay sa imuhang survey, ug gamay ra imong respondents, dali ra jud ka makabalidate sa imong data. Pero og sa mga dinagko na gani nga mga projects, ang buhaton sa mga researchers mo pick sila random nga sample sa completed nga survey para ma-validate nila ang mga collected nila nga data. Example, imagine na kay 200 respondents sa duha ka city. Ang himuon nimo ana, mupik kag random nga 20 ka buok respondents from each city. So after ana, you can reach out to them through email or phone and check their responses to a certain set of questions.
Step 2 on data preparation is data editing. Data editing is a process wherein the researchers have to confirm that the provided data is free of such errors. Example, ang atohang respondent na skipan niya accidentally ang usa ka question or na-fill niya ang usa ka question incorrectly. To make sure that there are no such errors, the researcher should conduct basic data checks, check for outliers, and edit the raw research data to identify and clear out any data points that may hamper the accuracy of the result. Step 3 in data preparation is data coding. This is one of the most important steps in data preparation. It refers to grouping and assigning values to responses from the survey. Mas maadyo sa atong research instrument, makategorize na nato. Example, for sa mga age sa respondent, between 13 to 15 years old, mag-group na to sila as 1. 16 to 18 would be 2, and 18 to 20 would be 3. Para dali ra siya ma-analyze, dali ra pud nato siya ma-code. After these steps, on quantitative data preparation, the data is ready for analysis. Naatay two most commonly used quantitative data analysis methods. These are descriptive statistics and inferential statistics. Descriptive statistics or descriptive analysis is the first level of analysis. It helps researchers summarize the data and find patterns. A few commonly used descriptive statistics are mean, median, mode, percentage, frequency, and range. Descriptive analysis provide absolute numbers. However, they do not explain the rationale or reasoning behind those numbers. Since na natay mga statistical tools karon nga will do the math, it is very important to think about which is one is best suited for your research question and what you want to show. For example, a percentage is a good way to show the gender distribution of respondents, while inferential analysis shows the relationships between multiple variables to generalize results and make prediction. This one is very complex. A few examples are correlation, regression, analysis of variance. Qualitative data analysis works a little differently from quantitative data. Primarily because qualitative data is made up of words, observations, images, and even symbols. Deriving absolute meaning from such data is nearly impossible. Hence, it is mostly used for exploratory research. While in quantitative research, there is a clear distinction between the data preparation and the data analysis stage. Analysis for qualitative research often begins as soon as the data is available. Analysis and data preparation happen in parallel and include the following steps. Step 1. Get familiar with the data. Since most qualitative data is just words, the researcher should start by reading the data several times to get familiar with it and start looking for basic observations or patterns. 2. Revisit research objectives. Here, the researcher revisits the research objective and identifies the questions that can be answered through the collected data. Thirdly, develop a framework, also known as coding or indexing. Here, the researcher identifies broad ideas, concepts, behaviors, or phrases and assigns codes to them. For example, coding age, gender, socioeconomic status, and even concepts such as the positive or negative response to a question. And lastly, identify the patterns and connections. Once the data is coded, the research can start identifying the themes, looking for the most common responses to questions, identifying data or patterns that can answer research questions, and finding areas that can be explored further. Qualitative data analysis method. There are several methods available to analyze qualitative data, but below are the most commonly used data analysis. 1. Content analysis. This is one of the most common methods to analyze qualitative data. It is used to analyze documented information in the form of text, media, or even physical items. When to use this method depends on the research questions. Content analysis is usually used to analyze responses from interviewees. Second, narrative analysis. This method is used to analyze content from various sources, such as interviews of respondents, observations from the field, or surveys. It focuses on using the stories and experiences shared by people to answer the research questions. Third, discourse analysis. Like narrative analysis, discourse analysis is used to analyze interactions with people. However, It focuses on analyzing the social context in which the communication between the researcher and the respondent occurred. Discourse analysis also looks at the respondent's day-to-day environment and uses that information during analysis. Lastly, grounded theory. This refers to using qualitative data to explain why a certain phenomenon happened. It does this by studying a variety of similar cases in different settings and using the data to derive causal explanations. Researchers may alter the explanations or create new ones as they study more cases until they arrive at an explanation that fits all cases. These methods are the ones used most commonly. However, other data analysis methods such as conversational analysis are also available. In conclusion, data analysis is perhaps the most important component of research. Weak analysis produces inaccurate results that not only hamper the authenticity of the research but also make the findings unusable. It's imperative to choose your data analysis methods carefully to ensure that your findings are insightful and actionable. Thank you and have a good day.
Good day, everyone. I am Katharina, and I am to report the last part of Module 4, which is statistical treatment. So, statistical treatment is when you apply a statistical method to a data set to draw meaning from it. It is essential in order to make use of the data in the right form. Raw data collection is only one aspect of any experiment. The organization of data is equally important so that appropriate conclusions can be drawn, and statistical treatment can be either descriptive statistics or inferential statistics. There are common statistical treatment or analysis to use in handling our data. We need to use suitable method in order for us to analyze carefully what the numbers of information in our research tell us about. So it is also used to properly test the hypothesis, answer research questions, and present the results of the study in a clear and understandable manner. So we have the descriptive statistics and also inferential statistics. Descriptive statistics involves tabulating, depicting, and describing the collected data. The data are summarized to reveal overall data patterns and make them manageable. While inferential data it involves making generalizations about the population through a sample drawn from it. It also includes hypothesis, testing, and sampling. When we say inferences, it is a conclusion reached on the basis of evidence and reasoning. So we have here two methods of descriptive statistics. First, percentage frequency distribution. This percentage frequency distribution, it is the record of the number of individuals or cases located in each on the scale of measurement. So we have here sample. We have male and female. The frequency is 120 for male and 80 for female. So total of 200. We can also find the percentage. So 120 is only 60% of 200 and 80 is 40% of 200. Percentage is the proportion expressed in percentage. So these can be presented in tables or graphs. And then we have the most commonly used method in research, the measure of central tendency, the mean, median, and mode. The mean is the exact mathematical center of a distribution. It is equal to the sum of all scores divided by the number of cases. So, in short, this is the average. So we have the example, daily temperature check for a week. So we have here. So to get this, we add them up and then divide by 7 because there are 7 days a week. So we have 7 temperature checks equals 36.12 average temperature. And then we go on with median. It is the middlemost value in a distribution below or above which is exactly 50% of cases that are found. And then mode refers to the most frequently occurring score in distribution. So using the example in mean, I have arranged it from the lowest temperature to the highest. So we have the 36.2 as median, which is at the center, and 36.3 as mode because this is the frequently occurring temperature. Now we go to inferential statistics. In inferential statistic, it is more complex because it involves the actual testing of your hypothesis, while descriptive statistics is just reporting the data that you gathered. The advantage of using parametric test instead of a non-parametric equivalent is that the former will have more statistical power than the latter. In other words, a parametric test is more able to lead to a rejection of null hypothesis. So we have non-parametric test. So inferential has divided sila into two, parametric and non-parametric. So we have here non-parametric na. This statistical technique is used to analyze ordinal and categorical data which are set in order or in scale form. And so we go back to parametric test. We have 3 types of method. 3 methods. We have first the t-test. This is used to test the null hypothesis that there is no difference between the means of the two groups. But this test cannot be used for comparison of 3 or more groups. Next is ANOVA, or analysis of variance. This is used to test if there is any significant difference between the means of 2 or more groups or categories. For example, an ANOVA can examine potential difference in IQ scores by country, like US versus Canada versus Italy versus Spain. While Pearson correlation or Pearson product moment correlation, this tests the statistical relationship or association between two continuous variables. For example, we could use Pearson's correlation to understand whether there is an association between exam performance and time spent revising. You could also use a Pearson's correlation to understand whether there is an association between depression and length of unemployment. A Pearson correlation attempts to draw a line of best fit through data of 2 variables. Now we go to the non-parametric tests. We have Mann-Whitney U-test. Mann-Whitney U-test is a non-parametric version of the independent samples t-test. The test primarily deals with 2 independent samples that contain ordinal data. The Kruskal-Wallis test is a non-parametric test to analyze the variance in ordinal data. It analyzes if there is any difference in the median values of 3 or more independent samples. Then we have Spearman rank test. Spearman rank test tests the strength of a link between two sets of categorical data variables. Then we have another useful method in analyzing our research or in analyzing our data. We have regression analysis. This is powerful statistic method that allows us to examine the relationship between two or more variables of interest. This examines This examines the influence or effect of one or more independent variables on a dependent variable. We have levels of measurement. Depending on the level of measurement of the variables, what can we do to analyze our data may be limited. There is a hierarchy in the complexity and precision of the level of measurement, from low, which is nominal, to high, which is ratio. So the 4 levels of measurement are nominal, the ordinal, interval, and ratio. Nominal level, we can categorize our data by labeling them in mutually exclusive groups, but there is no order between the categories. For example, city of birth, gender, ethnicity, car brands, marital status, and what else was that? Students' favorite colors, the color of the eyes of the respondents. Then we have ordinal level. We can categorize and rank our data in order, but we cannot say anything about the intervals between the rankings. So examples of ordinal scales: top 5 Olympic medalists, top 50 classic movies, language ability, Likert type questions. For example, rank on a scale of 1 to 4 our degree of satisfaction. Let's say 4 as the highest and 1 as the lowest. For example, 4 very satisfied, 3 satisfied, 2 unsatisfied, and 1 very unsatisfied. Interval level. These attributes are variables where the distance from one number to the other has meaning, like scores of the tests, means, weighted means, the difference between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. test scores, personality inventories, temperature in Fahrenheit or Celsius. While in ratio level, these are attributes of variables that has a natural zero or true 0 point. Examples: we have the height, age, weight, temperature in Kelvin, or 0 balanced in ATM. So why are levels of measurement important? The level at which you measure a variable determines how you can analyze your data. The different levels limit which descriptive statistics you can use to get an overall summary of your data, and which type of inferential statistics you can perform on your data to support or refute your hypothesis. In many cases, your variables can be measured at different levels, so you have to choose the level of measurement you will use before data collection begins. So we have example where we can measure the variable of income at an ordinal or ratio level. In ordinal level, We can create brackets of income range, and we can have it coded from 1 to 3 or 1 to 5 depending on your data. While in ratio level, we can collect data on the exact annual incomes of our participants. So here are the data types and their mathematical operations, measures of central tendency, measures of variability. Where is that? So there are many statistical methods and techniques that can be used in research. But these topics I've tackled are the common ones, and yes, you can use another type of method if you like. And one of the pointers to remember in conducting statistical analysis is to identify, of course, the research problem, describe the nature of the data to be analyzed based on our research problem, and use research frameworks, especially the empirical model, to summarize understanding of how the data relates to each other, with each other. Prove or disprove the validity of the model using your hypothesis. And we can also use common statistical tools like SPSS, Stata, but this Stata can only be purchased, so it has payment. So we need payment for this. And Megastat, which can be downloaded for free. So if we have a large number of information that needs to be analyzed. So that would be all. Thank you so much. Good day.